This video is brought to you by PrizePicks. Day one is over, which means it's day two. And that means we have an entirely new board to work with. We're going to do a day two mock draft for the Cleveland Browns. We love to keep the mock drafts coming. We love to keep the fun going. Make sure if you want to have the fun on stream that you're subscribed and notified so you can be with me when we're live. We're going to be live about 8 o'clock tonight for day two, and we're going to be live for about 4 hours. We're going to go probably till midnight. So make sure you're a part of that fun with me. We had a great time last night, almost. We had over 20,000 people. Well, not 20,000 people, but, we had over 20,000 people over the course of the stream. I think we peaked at about 2K. So had a lot of fun. Lots of people were hanging out, enjoying the draft, talking Browns. Make sure you don't miss out on the day where the Browns are going to have a ton of picks. They traded for an extra third. So they got that extra third. They have a second round pick. They're going to make 3 selections tomorrow, or at least they have the choice to make 3 selections tomorrow. So make sure you join there, you're subscribed, you're notified, and you're here for the live stream. But we're going to do a day two mock. But before I get to that, got to thank my sponsor, PrizePicks. Hey, let me talk to you about my sponsor for this year, PrizePicks. It's a fun way to win cash while you're watching your favorite teams. Forget complex betting rules. Their app is designed to be incredibly easy to use. Just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Speaking of, here are my picks for this upcoming NFL season. They have Myles Garrett at 14 sacks here. I think he will get more than 14 sacks. Joe Burrow at 3,875 passing yards. I think he'll be a 4,000-yard passer. I'm going to go with more. They have Derrick Henry at 1,224 yards. I'm going to go less than that. Check to see if PrizePicks is available in your state. You can follow me on the app at KWEN_C to see all of my lineups. Download the PrizePicks app today. Play $5 and get $50 in lineups when you download the app using the link in the description. Get this mock started here. We got Jermon McCoy, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, and Caden McDonald. So first things first, right? We're going to actually run this back to the top because I want to talk about who's on the board, why they're on the board, and would they be interesting to the Cleveland Browns? Would the Browns be interested in moving up? Jermon McCoy is interesting because he's a first-round prospect, 20 years old, super productive, right? Super productive player, but I think he had an injury, right? So missed all of 2025 with a injury, major health questions as teams are evaluating him. It's kind of reminds you of what happened with the corner out of Michigan last year. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, who's a player I like a lot, right? Great coverage corner. You worry about him a little bit in man, but super physical, strong tackler. You love to see that. Caden McDonald, the 3-tech out of, was he a 3-tech? He's 326. He's not a 3-tech. He is a 1-tech probably, but he could probably be a 3-tech too. Played at Ohio State, which used to be like just a straight up 4-3, but under Matt Patricia, I think they used a little bit of a nose. But anyways, 28th overall prospect, 21 years old. Avian Terrell is another one that's interesting, right? Really good corner, good athlete, good movement skills, 21 years old. I think that's something that the Browns could look at 39. Denzel Boston. I don't know if the Browns really go for another wide receiver. I think the Browns are going to double dip in this draft, but I don't think they're going to double dip with 2 receivers. I think they're going to get a receiving tight end later on in this draft. And they'll consider that double dipping because they're getting 2 pass catchers who are going to get a lot of snaps in this offense. If you look at how Todd likes to run his offenses, right, in Baltimore, this is a guy who ran a lot of 12P. If you go back, a lot of 12P in what Todd likes to do, a lot of plays off the run. So it wouldn't be shocking to see him want another tight end here. Denzel Boston's going to be probably what the internet wants to do. I don't know if that makes sense for the Browns, right? Denzel Boston's a good prospect, right? 6'4", 210 pounds. He's a good route runner, solid contested catch ability, great feet. The thing with him is like there's not high level separation with him, and I don't know where the fit is in Cleveland with him. I don't really see or envision a way for him to be used in the Browns offense, like especially if they're going to be more mimicking of what Baltimore has done. There's an easy slot to slide Casey Concepcion in there, right? We saw Zay Flowers do that, but Zay Flowers did that at a much smaller size than Casey Concepcion. Denzel Boston, like, I don't know how they would factor that in. I think they would be more comfortable going to tight end there. I wouldn't be surprised if they're higher on Stowers than maybe like the consensus boards are. I think they're definitely higher on Delp than the consensus boards are. So there's a lot of different ways that the Browns could go about this. I don't think Denzel Boston is where they go. With Casey Concepcion, Chris Bell makes less sense, right? You're going to want to give Casey some of the touches you would have to give Chris Bell. So maybe not. Like maybe if you envision Chris Bell's only being somebody you use as a deep threat, but that's supposed to be what Isaiah Bond is here for too. So yeah, I think if I'm the Browns, I think I'm looking at two players here and trying to say to myself, I want to find a way to leave today with either Avian Terrell or Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, right? How much would you have to move up and how much would you have to pay to do that? If we wanted to move up from 39 to 36, it probably takes an extra fifth, but the Browns do have extra fifths to spare. Now, if you can't make a trade, then what about trading back? What players do you like at the Browns trade back? We could talk about Zion Young here. We could talk about D'Angelo Pons after a trade back. I think Jacob Rodriguez is probably going to go higher than the consensus boards have him, but if he's there, you could talk about him. Eli Stowers is certainly somebody we could talk about. Connor Liu is somebody you could talk about. AJ Halsey is somebody there. So let's look at the offers and see if there's anything intriguing here that would move me off this pick. 122, probably not going to do it. Minnesota wants to give us 97. So that's a third round pick. So that's worth considering. Carolina wants to give us 51. Nah. 89 to move to 57, though. But we get 89. But we move back a lot of spots here. Do I think I can move back to 57 and be fine? I'm not about to do pick 60, though. That's crazy. Like 57, this is where the board is sitting on 57. But like I think Stowers might be there. Maybe Jeremy Bernard. He's such a good player. Like Jeremy Bernard is not going to be like a great wide receiver or like a Pro Bowl wide receiver, but Jeremy Bernard is going to have like an 8-year career with a single team. You know what I mean? Like he's going to play till he's 30, 35, 30, 32 years old. Like he's going to have a 10-year NFL career, but he's going to have a solid 8 years with whoever he's drafted with. He just won't be a 1,000-yard wide receiver. He's going to be maybe like a 600 to 800 a year guy, but really reliable there. Don't know if the Browns fit makes sense for him, right? Like that's the thing you got to ask yourself there, but really good player, All right, so now that we had those conversations, let's resume the draft and get back here, right? The way that this falls, Avian Terrell went 36, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren goes at 34. I'm thinking trade back here. Like once we get to here, I'm thinking trade back. So we're gonna go here. TJ Parker, Denzel Boston, or Mason Thomas could be interesting. Super twitchy pass rusher. You know, a lot of people that I trust really like him. So, you know, that's something to consider here. But I think I'm going to want to move back. R. Mason Thomas is somebody I would take. Chase Basante. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So I could move back 10 spots in my worst case scenario and be fine. So 49 might be my cutoff here. Definitely not going to do 60. 132. So 60 is the only way I can. That's a lot of spots, man. 43 is not that much. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move back to 43, and then we're gonna field some calls at 43. All right, Cassius, how? Okay, let's see. See if we get something better. Okay, bam, we got something better here. All right, so pick 98 to go to 54. That's more acceptable. If I go to 54, do I think I can move back 10 spots and still get somebody I like? All right, so I'm going to take this trade from Tampa Bay and move back another 3 spots. And I think I'm just going to pick here. I'm probably leaning towards Stowers or Lou here. I'm probably going to take Lou here because I like some of the tight ends I can get later. We'd look at the offers. Unless somebody offers me something stupid here. Probably not going to do it, but we're going to take Connor Lou here. Get ourselves an athletic center, build an athletic young offensive line. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get Connor Lou, and we're going to monitor this draft. If Stowers starts sliding, Stowers, Bernard, who else am I keeping an eye on? Bell. Yeah, if Bell falls past a certain point, Pons as well, Halsey. If we get, well, I'm picking at 70, we're going to keep an eye because I have the ammunition to move back into the second round if I want to. But we're going to take Connor Lou here. We're going to get ourselves a center. Okay, so Bells, Pons, and Stowers just went back to back with Bernard. Jeez. All right, so brutal board fall here. Let's call Green Bay and see if we can get this pick here because I want Halsey too. Because I didn't. Yeah, let's offer Green Bay something. So let's call Green Bay. Let's see if they're willing to move back. It's going to take a lot, right? So 195 points. They say I could offer 197. And that would make it even. But what if I offered you 130 and let's say 248? Is that going to be too much? Okay, cool. That got it done. We're going to go Halsey here. Get ourselves a ball hawk, physical center, a safety. Let's jump Pittsburgh to make sure Pittsburgh can't do it. I like it. All right. So now we're going to be waiting a little bit here. If we're looking at the Browns picks, Spencer Fano, Casey Concepcion, Connor Lou. So offensive line, we've taken care of it. We've used free agency. We used 2 top 50 picks on it. We're good there. Tight end is what we're going to look at next. Oscar Delp. When's our next selection? 74. So we got 74. Probably going to go Delp there at 74. Is there anything moving me off Delp at 74 on the board? Nope. We're going to go Delp at 74. Interior, we already took care of that. Dennis Sutton's interesting, but not good enough. We might try to get Caleb Proctor, yeah. A little bit later here at 108. But yeah, cool. Yeah, we're going to go Oscar Delp here next. Cool. So 74, we're going to go up. We're going to take Oscar Delp. And that is the double dip for pass catchers. So if you look at that pass catcher room, now, it's starting to be more full. It's starting to look a lot more full. Jerry Jeudy, Casey Concepcion, Isaiah Bond, who's going to be a part of that room, right? We can factor in Cedric Tillman. We cannot factor in Cedric Tillman. Jamari Thrash, all those guys, they're prove-it guys, whatever. We'll look at that as camp comes around. Maybe we get a good camp from those guys. We add those guys in. But then you get Harold Fannin. You're adding Oscar Delp to that rotation. And then, you got Dylan Sampson from last year who's going to be in there. And boom, you got 6 receiving threats right there, right? That's enough to have a passing attack, right? You got 2 tight ends to give your young quarterback a floor. You have a playmaking wide receiver. You got a complete offensive line, an athletic offensive line that's going to be able to run block, hopefully. And that's going to give the run game, like, we're making it easier to play quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And then a safety, because it's always good to refill your defense, So that's where we're at. Connor Lew, Halsey, and we're going to go and take Delp here. So let's go ahead, make that selection, take Oscar Delp. That would complete day 2. So that's the day 2 mock draft. Connor Lew, AJ Halsey, Oscar Delp. I think that would be a nice combo to go with, right? What I hope for the Browns to do today in the draft is to complete the offensive line, right? Get ourselves somebody you can project to play center, preferably somebody athletic. Get somebody to help with the safety room, right? An extra body in there, or just another defensive player. I would love to see a defensive player selected today. And then complete the double dips, right? I want to see the double dip at offensive line complete. I want to see the double dip at pass catcher complete, and then show the defense some love. You do that, we can vary on our evaluations of these players, but if that's done, I'll be pretty happy. You know what I mean? So that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comment section down below. You have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.